Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Trades Talk is kicking off now. We have a special guest today, Aaron Bowles, who is with Bowles Photography, photography and marketing company specializing in the trades. And he's figured out this really cool system of recurring income for the photography business that whether you're a contractor or a photographer, I think you're going to get a lot out of this. Maggie, what were some of your takeaways today?
Well, I basically begged Justin to bring Aaron to the podcast because Justin and Aaron work very closely together. I've met Aaron at many trade shows and industry events. And I just think what Aaron does is so important for business owners of the trades. Full stop. Like the amount of opportunity in growing social media and growing your presence online through Google, whatever, all the different things he takes us through is a great opportunity. And Aaron does it so well, specifically for the trade, since that's what he focuses on. He just does it so well. And the stuff that he's been able to do for you, Justin, and K&D, and the exposure he's given you, Aaron is just a top-notch photographer and social media expert.
He's great. And what he creates, the reels, the photography, the behind the scenes content he captures, it really connects the team to the client and the company to the client. So if you guys want to see some of Aaron Bowles' work, you could just give my landscape page a follow, K&D Landscaping on Instagram or Facebook or any of the things. We even have a TikTok. Aaron's behind a lot of the photography. He does a great job, and he goes through today's podcast and shares his journey that I think is going to be relatable to every small business owner. We're up late doing invoicing and trying to make ends meet. He's kind of in that journey right now, which I think is great that we got to talk to him right now in this journey he's in.
Yeah. He's so relatable because when you're out there in the field shooting, your crews and all these different people, the one thing I've always noticed about Aaron when I've been around him is he's such a relatable person to talk to. And he's in a very relatable time in his business. Although his niche is photography and not providing a service-based, landscape service-based business, he still has all those same struggles. And it's awesome seeing him navigate them. And when he comes back in a year or two, he's going to be a monster. And the opportunities for him are endless. So I'm very excited. And should we dive in?
Let's go. I'm ready.
All right, guys. Today we have Aaron Bowles with Bowles Photography on the line with us. And Aaron, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your company?
Thanks, Maggie. Yeah, thanks for having me today. My name is Aaron Bowles. I'm a 26-year-old photographer, videographer, social media person now, you would say. I got going in 2013. Broke my collarbone riding mountain bikes at a world-famous jump snap toss, and didn't want to stop going to the jumps every day. So picked up my mom's camera one day and just led into kind of a hobby from there and showing up to the jumps and shooting some photos. And, I just kept with it and went into high school freshman year. Didn't really think much of it. Played sports. The sports I didn't play, I took some photos at it. From there, I just kept shooting, kept shooting. And, family friends would reach out to me to do family portraits, little family parties. And then in 2014, I got pretty sick and was sidelined for about 6 months. Didn't pick up a camera for about a year. And once it got better, just picked up the camera again. I was back to riding dirt bikes. In high school, all my friends, all we did was ride dirt bikes. So one of my buddies was racing at a national level, and I was kind of traveling with him and his family to all the national races. And I started doing some deals with the motocross companies and get little checks here and there and making a little side cash. And at this time, I was working at a local grocery store here, doing morning crew on the weekends. And from there, I kind of went independent studies sophomore year of high school. I kind of just, with all my health conditions and everything going on, I kind of just said, hey, parents, let's back up and let's do independent studies, and I'll work when I can work and we'll deal with my medical stuff. And I just started getting more jobs. I was only going to school 2 days a week, Mondays and Wednesdays for 2 hours. And as long as I got my homework done, went to work and made some money, my parents weren't going to complain too much.
How old were you when you got your first check?
I was 15 years old. It felt amazing.
Was that like an aha moment for you? 15 years old, at that point, most of your peers aren't getting paid to do anything. Was that the moment where you realized there could be something into this, or were you still it was still a hobby?
No, at that point, I think the first time I got a check, I remember who it was from. It was a buddy of mine named Garth Millen. He's a Red Bull's #1 photographer. he was at the jumps one day. I was talking with him and he asked me, say, hey, can you go to Tahoe for a photo shoot with me? I was like, yeah. I think I'm 15 years old. And so I had my brother drive me up to Tahoe and I shot this event. And it was super cool. The 3A event. And I didn't know what to charge. So I reached out to like a photographer I knew and I said, hey, what's a day rate cost? And told me a day rate. So yeah, it was a surreal moment. And looking back at it now, time goes by so fast. And I think I quit the grocery store junior year of high school and just kind of was I didn't have another job lined up. I kind of just was like, hey, parents, I'm making money all my days off after work. I was always shooting photos. And I was like, hey, like, I'm thinking about quitting. And they were like, well, do you think that's financially safe? X, Y, and Z. And I said, yeah, I think, start young. Let's do this. So I quit and I never looked back. So I think I quit in 2016.
Did you finish high school?
I finished high school. I got my diploma and never went to college and
Yeah.
cool. I just kept shooting photos and just kept at it and built up a client base. And from there, I mean, look where we're at now. So
That collarbone injury must be pretty common because I actually have a team member who broke his collarbone earlier this year racing dirt bikes.
it's a very easy bone to break. I think it's the most common bone.
So, so you're just shooting photos, you do your first check. Now, where are you at today? How many clients do you have? Like, what does your day-to-day look like in your business today?
Today, I am servicing 12 monthly clients. So 12 of I think nine of those clients out of the 12 are on monthly contracts. I sign them for a year contract. And everybody's different, but yeah, I put all of them on monthly contracts. We kind of have a deliverable, like what's to be expected from me, and like what I'm going to provide for them. And every client's different. It's all trades companies too. I think the one company that's not is a high school company. I do all their sports photos still for. What led me to do the contract stuff? I think in 2017. I reached out to a company here locally in Watsonville and a fence company. All they do is custom fences and sent a mass email to 20 people. I remember the day like it was yesterday. 20 emails got sent out to a bunch of local companies. Cypress called me within an hour and they said, hey, this is something we've been looking for. We want to sign you onto this right away.
How did you promote yourself?
I just sent like a generic email.
Like,
and just, and with the resume attached to it and kind of no prices, just offering social media marketing services.
yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I think like a lot of the clients were hesitant to just jump straight into social media, like right off the bat, because social media 5 years ago wasn't where it is today. So having an online presence 5 years ago wasn't as necessary as is now.
Right.
So as companies start scaling their business, they want to have an online presence. They see all their competitors have it. They see all their competitors posting all the time with their jobs. Showcase it. Why not let your town see it, your community? I mean, when it comes to like what I do, I love to let the community see what these companies are doing. A company like Candy Landscaping, they have, I don't know, 50, 60 vehicles on the road, maybe more than that too.
I think we're 67 now.
So exactly. So you have 67 vehicles out on the road. People, they see Candy Landscaping, they see all their vehicles, they see the guys out in the field working, but like, do they ever see their work, their completed work? Do they ever see like the backstory behind Candy, the employees working, employee spotlights, like what do these people actually do? And so being able to go out on the field and highlight all the stuff they do out in the field and in the office and all things marketing, and to highlight that onto social media, I have a ton of like a good amount of following for the local area. So if I could, and it's all younger generation. So if I could bring the younger generation to see what all my clients are doing, when they get older, when they're 25, 26, 27, when they get a house, start a family, and they want to have a fence built, who are they going to call? Oh, well, we just saw Cypress Coast Fence on Aaron Bull's Instagram. So just building the social media presence is massive, just so everyone could see it. And I mean, there's so much more that goes into marketing social media.
So I just want to kind of set the table a little bit too, is I'm sure some listeners were thinking like, why are we bringing on a photographer who takes pictures of sports, right? Well, what Aaron and Aaron Bull's photography has taken today, where they've gone, you Bulls as a company, is like, you've gone to the point where you're focused on trades companies. I think an area in the trades industry that is completely ignored, which is social media online presence. And I was just talking to a company actually this morning they don't really have a Google My Business page that is claimed. They don't have pictures that they're adding to that. And if I go and look on Google, on most my Google My Business pages, what I see is I see iPhone photos, I see photos from clients, and there's just this lack of professionalism. Even though the company's very professional, very well done in the field, and you look on their online presence and it's like they have an Instagram or Facebook account that someone started, but no one's updated it for 2 years. You look at Google My Business, it's unprofessional. So I think what Bowles Photography brings to the trades, this level of professionalism. It's upscaling the presence online. And then the last thing you bring that I really like is you are intensely focused on local geography. Because of service and trade businesses, we aren't a SaaS company. We can't provide remote services to someone on the East Coast when we're headquartered on the West Coast. And what you've created is this network in right now, Central California, of trade companies that are up and coming, trade companies that are investing in the future. And the last thing I'll say about that, just to continue to set the table, is your focus is the team. Your focus are the people behind the company brand. And I think we lose this at the corporate level. You look at Super Bowl commercials, you look at all these multi-million-dollar funded commercials for these corporate companies. No one's showing the guys in the factory and the girls in the factory making the car. That commercial would connect to the everyday people. And I think you've done a really good job connecting and giving a voice to the people in the field who are building the fence, who are installing the concrete, who are, and even in the office, who are designing the landscapes.
Yeah.
So you've bridged this gap between the client and the company, where when people finally decide to call, be it K&D Landscaping or another one of your clients, they already have a personal connection to Liz, the designer, or to whoever it be in the field installing or maintaining the landscapes. So what my next question is for you, Aaron, is at what point did you realize documenting the process and photographing and videographing the employees in the field was going to be the best way to tell a story for these brands? Like, when was that, or was that something that just came naturally?
I think you could only shoot so much finished product. My clients are producing jobs every so often. So being out in the field, like, I love to be out in the field and every day capturing the guys, being with the guys every day. And I think just connecting with them on a personal level out in the field also, and being able to like take pictures of them smiling at me, bringing them lunch, and then them being stoked on it, taking pictures of them having lunch and posting that on the Instagram stories, and just letting the people know what the companies are doing besides the finished work. The guys out in the field are the backbone of the company.
Oh yeah. And I don't think any contractor is going to argue that point. It's something we talk about, but I think very few people put their money where their mouth is. People highlight these teams. And so tell me a little bit, you mentioned you bring some of these guys lunch. Like, is that part of the contract? Do the companies pay you to go get lunch and bring them to the guys?
No, it's not at all. It's something that I just started doing with a couple of companies, and it's a lot of the crews I work with speak mostly Spanish, so I've definitely picked up some Spanish throughout my years of doing this.
All right.
And
I think
so,
too, like, if you're shooting content while doing all that, it makes it that much more relatable for like hiring content. I know Justin's always looking to hire people. And so if you see people at work, like having fun, getting lunch and interacting with a vendor of the company, of course you want to come work for that company.
Yeah, so bringing lunch to the guys is definitely not in the contract. It's something that I do as being the owner, is just to get the guys to know me more and get them comfortable with me, and so making the whole out in the field process, shooting, just that much easier. They're willing to smile at the camera, like I said before, and just a lot of them are my friends now. I mean, I have a lot of their phone numbers. I know mostly all by name. So, and when I pull up to a job site, they all have their nicknames for me, and I have my nicknames for them. And it's, yeah, I mean, I call them my friends. I love what I do every day, and just being out in the field with the guys is definitely one of my favorite things to be doing.
Let's talk ROI a little bit here. So I know you brought some case studies to share with us, and I think that's where the companies in the trades that I talk to make comments like, wow, Justin is so well known on social media and all this stuff. And I think part of that is A, because he's figured out the code first, B, because he has a great resource in you, but C, because he doesn't have competition out there. Like, no one else is doing what Justin is doing and what you are helping him do on social media.
Yeah.
And I know just by being a friend of Justin's, that has returned a lot on investment for him. So what are some case studies as far as just social media marketing and growing people's footprint on the internet in general, SEO, like all of that? What is some good ROI studies that you can share with our listeners who are maybe looking to take this leap into the digital marketing world?
Yeah, Maggie, great question. Yeah, so one of the ROIs is I started working with a concrete company back in 2013. I think I want to say midway through 2023. When I started running the social media for this concrete company, I believe they had like 200 followers. And I think now we're up to about 800 followers in less than 6 months. And we're always big on the followers, is not the biggest thing. We're like the views and we like the clicks. And their views, they had like 5, 6 likes per photo, not doing much. And then they never even did Instagram Reels. And Reels is a whole other topic we can hop into in a little bit. But once we started doing Instagram Reels for them, the Reels get expanded out to a way bigger audience. And so while doing that, I mean, I think as of today, we have 5,000 people or 4,000 people on his Instagram a month, compared to when I started his Instagram, it was about 50 to 100 people on his page per month. So that's one of them, 50 to 4,000, 5,000 in a couple of months. That's huge.
These people may not convert the first time they see into a paying client, but what happens is your sales team will go out, you'll try to sell a contract, and you'll be talking to the wife or the husband, let's say on a residential install. And let's just say you're talking to the wife, right? The husband's busy working, brings home the contract and says, we got 3 bids and they're all about the same price. I'm not sure who we should hire. Like, what do you think, husband? What's the first thing the husband's going to do? They're going to Google the company, or they're going to look them online and social. And you see the concrete company you're working with, who has all this action and all this activity behind the scenes. And the other 2 have, like I said, maybe 1 or 2 posts in the last 6 months, and they're just iPhone photos.
Exactly.
But you're immediately going to lean towards the one with that intense focus on brand presence. You're going to look at the followers. You're going to look at the clicks, I think. And today's day and age, you're selling to a younger and younger audience who's more and more focused around clicks and pass throughs and real views and plays and all that. So I think what you're doing is great. And I think it's hard to calculate that ROI, as Maggie was asking, but I do think there's this like second layer of conversion that happens when you're doing what you're doing. So when you're going to work with a company, and you're like, hey, let me take some photos, I'm going to post them online, and I'm going to charge you a couple grand a month for this service. I've got to imagine a lot of people get sticker shock and are like, man, I can't afford that. I can't spend that much money. Like, what would be your response to that for a company who doesn't have an online presence, doesn't have an Instagram, isn't doing what you're doing? You know, what are some of the reasons they should be doing that?
Yeah, good question, Justin. I just ran into this with one of my new clients that I signed on this year, started 2024. Doesn't have any Google, doesn't have a website, doesn't have an Instagram, doesn't have a LinkedIn, and they build 12 custom homes a year. They're doing just fine. But when it comes to the social media marketing, yeah, I mean, he's been always wanting to do it. He was hesitant on doing it. And the big thing he wanted to do was just to have his community see what he does. And he, I think they only have 3 or 4 vehicles out on the field, but just to have like that presence in your city is massive. And, since then, I think we started his Instagram. It's January 2024. It was 0 followers. I think we're up to like 400 or 500 right now, 2,000 people on his page a month. And we have his website's soon to be launched. He doesn't have a Google page yet because, I mean, half these people, they only pay me for Instagram. So
Right.
to use me in all ways, it's going to cost a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that don't have social media, don't have anything, they want to start small. And that's fine with me because they'll see the results on social media.
Well, there's also the impact of the business side of it too, right? So when I was running a sales org for a landscape company, I had to work very tightly with the marketing side of things. And at the time, that was Kelly Dowell, who is episode number 2 of our podcast. Her and I worked hand in hand to run sales and marketing. And we also had a leap in production, right? Because if you ramp up marketing too fast, if you grow a company too fast, you're not going to have the sales people and the production to support that growth. So you have to make sure that you are working, like you're building out a marketing plan that also fits the hiring strategy, that hits the ability to buy trucks and all of these different things.
Yeah.
Something that I've also noticed is owners on of these smaller, I'm talking, under $3 million, not some, under $3 million companies, right?
Yeah.
They are working so much in the business every single day that they do not have time to work on a marketing plan, and they don't even know where to start. A lot of them don't even know what their target demographic is. They're saying yes to everything. They're the Kendall Whites of before he sold the business to Justin, right? They're working so much in the business that they don't even know, like, oh, okay, am I going after residential, high-end residential? How can I work with realtors? How can I focus on this specific neighborhood to build density in this neighborhood? And so, in my opinion, they want to be good at everything, but they can't be good at this one thing. Like, this is just not an area where we see owners of the trades excelling in. This is marketing, and rightfully so. Right? They should be on the business side of things. So I think what you're doing is there's such a need to it, the outreach and promoting yourself and all of these different things. Like, now I manage a sales team that their sole job is to go out there and gain new business. And they're not NGO, so they can't go to knock on people's doors and drop off flyers. Like, they're doing it all through creative digital outreach and phone calls. And one of the things that I tell them to utilize are Google reviews and Google presence and social presence. And so I can take a client like Justin, for example, and say, look how many Google reviews Justin has on his website. Look how happy. His average rating is 4.9. He uses Aspire. You have 3 Google reviews on your whole company and your average rating is a 2. Can we improve that by using software systems to streamline your business? So I try to get them to be creative by using all the stuff that you guys do, that your company does, to help promote our business as well. So I just had to add that comment in there, because sales is exposure, sales is visibility, and however you can put that in front of people, you're gonna grow your company.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've definitely been having growing pains since 2023 was the first year I could say that was like profitable.
You're saying in 2023, you ran your company like a business and you made a profit. And before that, it was kind of more like you get paid when you can get paid. And it was a side hustle. That was the main hustle.
Yeah, living at home, staying afloat was then. And then, 2023 happened. And the winter of 2023 was definitely probably my slowest time. I think I was only doing about 5 or 6 grand every month in revenue. We live in California. That's not too much to live on. But I think spring, summer of 2023, what just skyrocketed for me. And I think since then, we're doing anywhere from about 15 to 20 grand a month in revenue. So now I'm having some growing pains. I'm trying to, I have hired a friend of mine to help me to run some social medias, because running 9 social medias is definitely not the easiest thing to do every day while trying to be out in the field. Every night I'm staying up till 1 or 2 in the morning right now, still editing emails, invoices, everything you could think of.
What changed? I mean, that's a pretty significant jump. You doubled your business.
Just growing up, I think, last year I was 25 and I was still kind of in my younger 20s. I was doing enough work to get by. Like I said, 5, 6 grand a month, just doing enough work to get by. And then I just had a click in my head one day and I just was like, hey, like, I have bigger goals than this. Like, I can't live off of this. And this is something I wanted to do the rest of my life. And so I just put my head down and just started working late nights, tell my friends, hey, I can't hang out tonight. And they're like, come on, let's go out. And I said, no, I'm staying home. So I definitely have, wouldn't say I've lost a lot of friends, but I definitely don't see or talk to a lot of my friends that I used to anymore.
Yeah, that's normal. When you're doing big things, you're going to outgrow some people and some relationships in your life. And that is totally okay. I've done that through many different transitions in my life. Justin, when did you start working with Aaron?
We've worked together for a solid 2 years now. It was like we wanted someone to come in and document this awesome Christmas party we do every year. And then it kind of was like, hey, can you take pictures of this job? And then fast forward to today, we have Aaron now on a contract where he's taking photos not only of our jobs, but now we're actually utilizing Aaron to document our safety meetings, our employee training, and we're taking this content and we're developing a homegrown onboarding program, basically, where employees can watch videos of trainings that we've performed. They have a training opportunity that you can go to the website, watch a training. But when you create the training with your internal team and your supervisor, who that person will be reporting to, and they watch that as part of their orientation process, it's just so powerful to see that connection happen immediately. So you have safer employees on day one. You have higher trained employees on day one. So Aaron's really expanded his services beyond just Christmas parties and gatherings. Now you're obviously at job sites constantly documenting all of our events that we do. And then now you're helping me with my personal brand, where whether it's the podcast or it's going to speaking conferences and places that I'm going to talk, Aaron's coming with me to those, and you get to hear me speak and hear other people speak. And tell me a little bit about that. Like, tell me how you've continued to advance your company and you've created some of these new ideas and you're being around more people, whether it's down at Aspire's parent company, Service Titan, or Lawn and Landscape Conference. Like, you're getting exposed to a lot of different people in the specifically the landscape industry, but really the service industry. How is that shaping your vision in the future for what Bowles Photography could potentially be?
I think in 2025, you guys will be excited to hear what I've been working on and Justin's been working on also. And the opportunities are endless. Meeting all these people, I mean, hopefully in 2025, we can launch something to where we do service clients in any state they're in. But going to the speaking events, going to the Aspire conference, it was just so powerful to talk with the landscapers and how they do their social media, looking at their social medias with them, kind of telling them what to do and what I can do for them. And I couldn't tell you how many landscapers have reached out to me asking me to work for them. And I'm just like, hey, one and a half man show right now. I don't have the means to do this.
So you're saying no strictly on just bandwidth. Like, if you had to pick your ideal client profile, what would that be? Like, who would you want to work with? Say resources are unlimited. What does your ideal client look like?
A CEO that is motivated to grow their marketing. I mean, someone that's not afraid to throw some money at it and trust me with it, and to have like 1 or 2 monthly meetings to check in and see what we've been doing, and just being willing to grow the social media and not just paying me and just not talking to me for a month or 2 months and just kind of letting me do my thing. Like, I definitely love direction. I love when the owners get involved too. I think that's super powerful when the owners want to see the progress.
When, Maggie had termed that total addressable market, and you look at all of the service companies out there, I would say maybe 10% have a solid online strategy, right? So if there's 100,000 service businesses in this country right now, 5,000, maybe 10,000 on a good day have what I would consider a strong online strategy. Some have just tripped and fallen into a pretty good online presence. Do they have 2x reviews of anyone else in their market? Do they have a 3 to 5 day a week social media updating calendar? I mean, are they intentional about their market, their online presence? And for that reason, I think where Aaron's at and the need in the service industry as we go forward to have this online presence is like, it's no wonder people are reaching out to you asking for your help, because so many business owners are so focused on in their business, delivering the products and talking to clients, and they don't take the time to work on their business.
Yeah.
We've had a good run. I mean, the last 4 years, if you're not doing good now, like you might want to switch industries, because the last 4 years has been a complete bull run on our service industry.
Well, and it's changed how people buy. I think that's one of the biggest things that I focus on as a sales leader is the way people buy now. Like, now looks very different than it did 5, 10 years ago. And like Aaron's target clientele probably hasn't shifted that much, right? Like, these people are working in their business, but you have to put in perspective of when you go to sell these people, just so you know, Mr. Business Owner, Mr. CEO, how your people are finding you is very different than it was 5 years ago. And if you aren't staying up with the times, you're going to miss out, and someone's going to start a company and they're going to blow past you, because how people find your company and look up and see what you do, and also what lens they're evaluating you under, it looks very different than it did 5 years ago.
Completely.
As people have done research for years and years, when the internet came along, that changed the way people do research. And I think the introduction of AI is going to change the way people do research. So when you're researching a company to hire, or maybe more importantly, a company to go work for, AI is going to be one of those tools you use to research. And AI is typically the only research AI does is online research. So hint, hint, as AI becomes a key part of research for employers, employees, clients, etc., you've got to have that online presence for AI to grab a hold of that information and then curate it for the user, curate it for the researcher. So that's just another little drop in there of like how the next 5 years are going to be different than the previous.
Yeah, AI is going to be huge. I think it definitely has some more time to build itself, but I definitely use ChatGPT all the time for my Instagram captions. I trained my employee on just ChatGPT everything, man, like hashtags, everything. So yeah, I use a little bit of AI right now, not too much. There's some AI editing softwares out there for video that most of my editing for video now is all subcontracted out. So I don't do too much video editing. It definitely takes a lot of time, and I don't have a lot of time.
Well,
I still do all the photo editing. That's the photo editing is something that I love to do, and my clients see the photos I produced, and I just can't get behind letting someone else edit and like teach them my editing style. I think that's something I will have to let go to grow. Definitely have to let that go to grow. But yeah, I'm definitely experiencing growing pains currently in a good way, not a bad way. But yeah,
Yeah.
Maggie, I wanted to get back to, the ROIs. There's a company that I've been working with probably since 2022, and he's a fabricator here locally, good friend of mine now, and he does a lot of custom handrails, a lot of custom gates for a lot of residential work, some commercial work. But he had this vision to build a treehouse on his property. It was super cool. It's called Pacific View Treehouse. Look him up on Instagram. And when Logan asked me to run their social media, I think they had like 200 followers. And I took over January 13th was when my first post went live on their Instagram, and 200 followers, and we're up to 5,000 followers in less than a month.
That's so
And a half.
exciting.
Yeah. So, I mean, we just had a video get 430,000 views last week. Super cool. And, from that video going viral, as you would say, he had 10 bookings in like 3 days.
What did you do differently that that owner couldn't have done themselves?
I think just having like the online exposure I have,
Yeah.
and how consistent I am with posting for him, and me and him had an agreement with how many times he wanted to post a week, and at some point a video is gonna hit. And what I tell people, companies that don't really want me to run their social media, but I take photos and do video for them, like, hey, keep posting, a video will hit. A video will hit for you guys. It's super cool to have a video hit 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. It's a good feeling, and you see a lot that comes from it, and you get a lot of Google reviews from it too.
Yeah. And see, and having that video when it does hit, be a professionally shot, high quality video
Completely.
versus, hey, I got my iPhone out and I took a selfie, something on selfie mode that I downloaded from Snapchat. So,
Yeah, completely. Yeah, a lot of the drone work too on Instagram
yeah.
goes a long way. I think anyone could shoot a iPhone clip, but when you get a drone up in the air and get some cinematic shots with a drone, I think that's what's setting me apart from anyone else, is just having the drone and being able to operate the drone. And
That's awesome.
so
That ROI right there is going from 200 to 5,000 that quickly is just incredible. I something like that too. I just see it exploding from there. So
yeah, super cool. Thank you, Maggie. Yeah.
yeah, it's like who knows what that is going to lead to, like you said. I mean, one great client that comes out of that, at the end of the day, whether we work commercial, industrial, or residential, our clients are human beings who are on social media.
Yeah.
So the more you can get into their feed, the better. I wanted to ask, all right, so your offering, let's say, as a monthly contract is radically different than what I would consider historical trade service photography and videography. Historically, you would hire someone on a project base who would come out and they'd film a number of testimonials, or they'd come out, they'd capture photos and videos for a month, and then they put in this 2-minute trailer of you, if you will, for hiring employees, or a 2-minute trailer to get customers and clients to call. And that would cost, tens of thousands of dollars. And you'd have this awesome 2-minute video you'd put on your website and you'd put on maybe YouTube. So you're moving from that type of an offering, and your services are radically different from that. And I don't think in a bad way, but I just want to unpack that a little bit. So as people are thinking about this, and people who hire maybe on a project base or quarterly base, you are offering something that is quick photos on like a weekly deliverable. So maybe walk our listeners through, like, what is it like working with Bowles Photography compared to working for like a project based videographer who's going to give you a 2-minute video. Like it seems like you're delivering so much more content, so much more frequently. Like how are you doing that? How are you able to do that at scale with which what I consider limited cost compared to these bigger project based opportunities?
Good question, Justin. Yeah. My contracts, everyone's different, but for like the medium based contract, it's usually about 1 to 2 job site visits a week. The owner will reach out to me on Mondays or Tuesdays and give me a list of job sites. And from there, I just, I pull up to the job sites when they tell me to. And I shoot for about 30 minutes to an hour each one. And from there, I bounce to another one and keep bouncing. And what separates me from having these big companies come in and shoot all day at the job site, like you're not getting all aspects of the project, where I'm on each project from start to finish, like start, middle, end. Like if you hire a company to come out and shoot for 2 days straight, like they're not going to see the finished product. They're just going to get you
Right.
a nice video of the guys working on the field. Where I'll shoot all that content, I'll give it to my clients, but then also when the project's complete, I put all that content together to make a start to finish video or start to finish photo reel,
Right.
whatever that
Mhm.
would be.
You're doing this before, during, after, holistic approach where clients can actually follow the journey of a job live on social media rather than just seeing this 2-minute video of the finished product, maybe an in progress.
For someone like myself too, and for what we do at Aspire, like that, and I know we've worked together with some of the content here that you've shot for K&D, and just being able to take that content and be like, here is them mid-project, this is where, and having this scheduled out and all these different pieces, like as a vendor of K&D, we can then utilize that to help promote us because you're catching how our software is making them more efficient, providing better quality, providing a better product, all of those sorts of things. And so I think that that's another area of missed like visibility when contractors aren't using some sort of a social media, digital media expert is they're missing out on opportunities to monetize that to even their vendors and other people. Neighborhood magazine or publication or something like that. Like you can sell that stuff all over the place.
How many reshares we get too? Local newspaper, local businesses, local vendors that we partner with and buy from, they're always resharing our posts because we're shouting them out when we're using stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, Maggie, you got a great point on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just going out in the field twice a week to these companies is huge. And they get, my turnaround time is 1 week. If I shoot a project on Friday, Monday morning, they'll have all the photos back and they can fire it off. I'll send them a couple photos out in the field so they can post on their story right away. And I'll send them just a couple iPhone videos that I can send them right away too. Just of like, we're out in the field today on jobs on site with K&D. So yeah, just having someone internal in your company that can go out and shoot once, twice a week is massive, and you're getting quality work out of it. It's not just iPhone photos. I think my rig setup is like $6,000.
I totally agree with you. And so, all right, let's say there's a company out there listening and they're not doing anything. Like step 5 would be hiring a company like yours who can give them this full, complete product. But like, what's step 1? Is step 1 for them to just get out and like take iPhone videos and photos and just start posting? Like, how do they go from 0 to 1? And then, 1 to 5 is a different story. But like, how do you just get started as a service company, especially if you're a brand new company? Like, I love how relatable this podcast is to those folks who are just trying to start a landscape company or a plumbing company, because you're talking about staying up till 2 a.m. doing invoicing. Like
Yeah.
that's relatable no matter what business you're in. So like, let's talk to that guy who's under 1 million or gal who's trying to get something off the ground, no time in the day for photos and photography and social media. Like, what's the first step they can take to increase their online presence?
Start an Instagram, start a Facebook. First things first, you gotta do it first. You gotta create a name, you gotta create a password. And once you have that, you could post a photo in the office, your shop dog, anything. And just, the first photo should just kind of be a bio of what you do, or it could be a team photo of your team. Step 2 would be Google My Business. I started 2024. I've really been pushing companies on Google My Business. That's where, if you want to see a lot of leads and you want to see a lot of phone calls coming in, like it's from Google. That can help. I can help massive with that. All the photos I take, if the client says, hey, can we post 2 photos a week on Google? No problem. Click on their Google My Business. You're going to see these professional photos.
you're saying to use Google My Business as a social media platform, like post on it every single week.
100%.
There's your nugget for everyone listening. Like right there, go do that every week and you'll skyrocket your leads on Google.
The biggest thing is too is having people give reviews, whether that's past clients, current clients. Reach out to them, go up to them with a QR code and have them scan it and walk them through the process of giving you a review. Set them up to where it's at, and a lot of the clients you're going to deal with may be older, maybe younger. The older ones, you can kind of just walk them through it and say, hey, leave me an honest review, and the reviews will go a long way. The more reviews you have, you don't want to work with a company that has 5 reviews. If a company right next to them has 100 reviews, you don't want that. So you want to work with a company that has 100 reviews. So 2024 is all about pushing Google My Business for me. I mean, just keeping the social media going too, and you will get leads off of social media, but you won't see them as much as you do off of Google My Business.
I love that. And we're now moving completely away from photography and going into like a more holistic brand marketing strategy, which I love that because that's really kind of a look into 2025. And I know you and I have talked deeply about this around your plans and you're really, you mentioned it earlier, is expanding throughout the country where you don't have to be in Santa Cruz to utilize Bowles photography. You can be in Birmingham, Alabama,
Yeah.
right? We got
Yep.
some guys out there to experience those services. So I think what you're shooting for, it sounds like, is a holistic offering where people don't have to think about this. They can hire a company who's going to be watching their back, just like you hire a company to do your payroll,
Yeah,
right?
completely.
It's the same
Completely.
concept.
Going back to landing clients and first generation, the older gentlemen, the founders, trying to land them. A lot of the time they're like, well, why do I need an online presence? Why do I need this? I'm doing just fine. I have a house, I have a boat, I have kids, put them through college. Why do I need this? Well, some people will say they don't need it, but to have the social engagement with your community and to show your community what you're doing. If you're proud of what you do, you should be proud to show it online. And just having this online social media is, I think, massive. The marketing social media that goes from having swag, taking the swag out to the Gilroy Rodeo, and everyone going, "Oh, I know those guys. I see them on social media all the time." Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how many people are like, "Oh my God, you're Bowles." Like, yeah, but we see you all the time on Kit Construction Candy's Instagram. Like, you're all over the place. And I do travel probably to like 10 or 12 job sites a week. So my truck is stickered up and I'm driving around and I'm posting a lot on my social media. And like I said, I have a pretty good following in the local area too. So the one thing I wanted to say too was all my clients that I work with, they all work together on projects. They're all like, I don't have multiple of the same contractors. So
Right.
they're all different like different trades work. I know for Candy Landscaping, like when you guys need a custom fence, who are you guys gonna call? The big thing is I love like when all my clients work together, and so it's easy for me to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I go to one job site and I got 2 clients on a job site that day.
You're creating a network of trades companies who are proud and are doing, I think they're the market leaders and you try to find those. And if they're not market leaders, you elevate them to that point. The last thing I'll say is I think my mindset at one point was I'm not going to spend money on marketing because I already have too much work. Well, when I audited that work and I audited the leads coming in, I realized, yeah, we have a lot of work, but it's not really a lot of my ideal clients. And so what I've found out is you need, I would say 80% of the leads you should be filtering out because you're so focused on your ideal client that you say no 80% of the time and you say yes 20% of the time.
Yeah.
But to get to that point, you need 5 times the amount of leads coming in the door that you need to convert. And then right, that 20% you do say yes to, you're going to go meet with them. You're not going to get every job.
No.
So now that 5 times has to be multiplied by your close rate. And if your close rate's 50%, like Chris Jennings says it should be, then you need 10 times the amount of leads. So if you want 5 new jobs a week, you need 50 new leads a week. If you're going to play in your ideal market, your ideal sandbox, that's the multiplication factor you need to use. So it doesn't matter if you have enough work, quote unquote. Like you should be looking to always multiply that so you can pick and choose the right clients and become a resource for your community.
Not enough business owners understand the exact simple math that you just explained. And I think that that's a big takeaway from this is you need to back into that math and understand how many leads and how many And even I would even go from further than that, like how many touches and then like how many touches qualify to leads that you need to hit your goals as a business owner. So
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that sales funnel gets really tall at the top, really wide at the top. So you
Yeah.
need
yeah.
a lot of presence out there. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Aaron, I really am glad you came on the pod today. Like we're following your journey as a small business owner that you're creating. I'm excited to have you back on in a couple of years and see your progress. I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of things that you shared today that are relatable to those individuals who are trying to get going in business. And so I appreciate your open, honest
Yeah.
sharing of your journey. So at the end of the podcast, we always look for a trade secret, right? And this is something that you've learned through experience. You've learned through doing what you do and getting to where you are. And you're just super early in your journey. You're 26 years old, man. Like
Yeah.
I gotta just say, shout out to your accomplishments, your entrepreneurism.
Thank you.
But if there's something you want to leave our listeners with today, what is your trade secret that you want to share with the audience today?
My trade secret for today is, going to be just start today. Get going on social media. And if you guys ever need any help or questions, reach out to Bulls Photography on Instagram. My email will be down below.
I love it. Start today. Don't
Start
hold back.
today.
Start today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for joining
Hey,
me.
thanks for having me. And yes, I would love to hop back on in a couple of years, or in a year or two. And I think last year was a big year for me, but I'm definitely not where I want to be financially and in my business. I think I have a lot more work to be done. I'm not satisfied, and it's an honor to be on the podcast with you guys. And I'm just a small fish in a big sea, and trying to be that big fish.
You're doing big things
Nice.
from my visibility, and I appreciate it. So I'm excited to see where this takes you.
And
Well,
if anyone's listening out there and you just want to talk to Aaron about some ideas and strategy, like he's a super open guy who's here to help. So even if he can't help physically be there and work with you, but you want to brainstorm with him, like I know Aaron's always for it. So we'll make sure we have his contact info and help him out. Give him a follow on Instagram too.
yeah, please do. Cool, guys. So I appreciate you guys having me, and we'll talk soon.